Hi guys, it's Vic, and I am back with an exciting update for you all. I'm actually softly speaking because I'm laying next to my son. Yes, he sleeps in bed with my husband and I. And I'm just so, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm so obsessed with him that I can't put him back in his own bed yet. We got into this habit of him sleeping with us, and now I'm loving every second of it because he's growing up so fast. He's almost 2.5. So, for those of you who don't give a crap lousy about my labor story and an update, hopefully with my soft speaking, you can fall asleep. Okay, so for those of you who follow me, I did post a picture and a little summary on the YouTube community post on my channel. I was due with my second baby, our baby girl, November 2nd. And my son happened to be 5 days early, so I assumed, just being a little older mom and being my second child, that she would come early as well. But I assumed end of October. I didn't think she was going to come 5 whole weeks early. So, Wednesday, September 25th, we went to bed like it was a normal night. I have been sleeping on the couch throughout my pregnancy at the end of it because our bed sits pretty high and it's really uncomfortable. Well, it was when I was pregnant, on my hips and my back. I'm really tired, guys. Sorry. So I was sleeping on the couch because our sectional sits lower and it was easier for me. So we went to bed like it was a normal night. Typically what I would do is my husband, my son, and I would all cozy up in bed and watch a movie on Netflix, and when they fell asleep I would go on the couch. That's what happened Wednesday. Normal night. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm laying on the couch, and when you're pregnant and after you're pregnant, because it never goes away, you tend to leak a lot. I know that sounds gross, but if you laugh, sneeze, pee, cough, you're oh, a little pee came out. It's one of the joys of motherhood. Totally worth it though. So I was on the couch sleeping and I felt this warm sensation, like I peed my pants. And at first when it came out, it wasn't a huge gush. I thought, oh great, oh man, it just right away woke me up, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm leaking. And then more came out and more came out. And I'm like, oh my God, my water just broke. Now, the reason why it was hard for me to distinguish this is because with my son, it didn't happen that way. And it can happen labor can happen for, obviously, different women, different ways, different babies, different pregnancies. So with my son, I had contractions first. Then you have this thing called a mucus plug that came out. And then they broke my water at the hospital. With our daughter, my water broke, water broke, mucus plug, contractions, epidural. So I went to the bathroom to make sure I wasn't dreaming, and sure enough, my pajama pants were soaked like I peed my pants. I changed, I cleaned up, I woke my husband up, I said, Nick, and he knew something was wrong because I was waking him up. And I was so tired. What, did I just have a baby or something? No, I'm just kidding. So I woke him up and I said, I'm pretty sure my water just broke. And he was obviously half asleep, and he sat right up and he's like, you serious? And I'm like, yes, I'm serious. My water just broke. So he went and looked on the couch, and he's like, yep, the couch is wet. So he got a bunch of cleaning products and stuff and cleaned the couch, which he shampooed when we got home from the hospital. But for the time being, we didn't have time to shampoo the couch. So he cleaned it all up. I'm on the phone with the doctor, and the doctor was like, yeah, it sounds like you're in labor. Now, because I was 35 weeks pregnant, so I was 5 weeks early. The thing of it was, she knew that because my baby was going to be a preemie and be born early, she was going to be a NICU baby, which is neonatal intensive care unit. And it's for premature babies, sick babies, babies pretty much that are born preterm, or babies that might have medical issues. So, I am so sorry, guys. I'm so tired. So, she had said to me, here's the only thing. The hospital that I was supposed to deliver at, the NICU was full. She said, would you mind going to such and such hospital? And such hospital was the hospital I delivered my son at 2 years prior. So I was ecstatic about it. Again, the only downside to that was that she said, you're not going to know the doctor that's going to deliver your baby, because it's whoever's at that hospital. And because I knew that the hospital was like full of great doctors and nurses, I was okay with that. I mean, it's nice when you give birth to know who's delivering you, but trust me, you just want the baby out. You don't give a shit if, like a baseball catcher catches your baby. You're just like, get this baby out. You don't care. So we went to the hospital. No, wait, I have to back up. So this is 4:00 in the morning. This is all happening. I was not having contractions, so I knew I had time. And we called my mother-in-law, who's also a nurse, but she was off, thank God, that day. And my husband says, Mom, you need to come to the house. Vicky's water broke. Obviously, we need you to stay here with Luciano, blah, 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 blah. So she comes to the house, and I said to my husband, oh my God, I was supposed to go grocery shopping today. And he's like, so? I'm like, you got to go to the store and get a bunch of stuff for the baby and for your mom and this and that. My husband's like, are you freaking serious? You're in labor. I'm like, I have plenty of time. I don't even have contractions yet. So 4:00 in the morning, and here's my husband bouncing around to different stores to see what's open, because the Walmart that was closest to us didn't open until 5 a.m. So he's like, you have to be kidding me. So he goes to all these other stores, and I'm in the shower. My son's still sleeping. My mother-in-law comes here, and she's like, where's my son? And I'm like, oh, he's grocery shopping. And she's like, what? I'm like, not a full grocery shop. He's just getting a bunch of things because you're going to be here with the baby. And she's like, oh my God, Vicky, I would have done it for you. Are you crazy? I'm like, I'm fine. So I'm showering, I'm getting ready. So then we leave. We finally get to the hospital by 7:00. And on the way to the hospital, I tell my husband, oh, stop at this gas station real quick. I need a Nutri-Grain bar or something. My husband is like, Vicky, you are in labor. We were supposed to be at the hospital 2 hours ago. What the hell are you doing with your life? I'm like, I'm fine. So we go to the hospital. They check me in. And probably about 30 minutes into us being in the hospital, I start to feel my contractions. And I'm like, frick, here we go. So I said to the nurse, I'm going to be ready for an epidural very soon. So let's get going and check me. So she checks me and she says, your water broke, you're 5 centimeters dilated. Let's get you into labor and delivery. At this point, my contractions are starting to be pretty severe, pretty close together, about 2 minutes apart. And I'm like, I want my epidural, because I know how great it is once you get an epidural. I'm like, I want my epidural. So the epidural doctor comes in, he gives me my epidural, and then the nurse comes in behind him, and I had a fantastic labor and delivery nurse. She was wonderful. I actually got her a thank you gift that I'm going to bring tomorrow when I see her. And so I get my epidural. I'm in labor and delivery. And then the nurse comes in and she goes, okay, I'm going to put something in your IV called Pitocin. Pitocin is what they use to induce women in labor, and it just jumpstarts the labor process. And she says, and the reason why I'm giving it to you is because not only are you early, but your water already broke, ruptured, and like nothing's really happening right now. So we're going to give you the Pitocin to speed along your labor, almost like we're inducing you, because we know you have a preemie and we know that as soon as she comes out, she's going to need to go to the NICU. So our job is to get her here as quickly and fast as possible, safely. So I'm like, all right, cool. So they put the Pitocin in the IV and she says, now, even though you're numb, because that's the point of an epidural, to numb you from like the waist down so that you don't feel your contractions and you can kind of be comfortable. She said, you're going to start to feel like a little bit of pressure in your bottom. And she goes, when you start to feel that pressure, I want you to hit the call bell. We're going to come in and we are going to start pushing, because that means the baby's like heading down the birth canal. She's getting ready, blah, blah, blah. So my big thing was, I'm like, I had my son, vaginally. We're all adults. I can say that word. I'm like, I don't want to have a C-section. Do you think she's going to be born vaginally? And they're like, and she goes, oh yeah. She goes, she's already head down. So unless she turns, which I doubt, shouldn't be a problem. So at this point that they're doing all this, my father and my husband are in, because they let people in the labor room with you as long as you're comfortable. And like, I was obviously, had a hospital gown on and, like I'm comfortable because I had the epidural. So, my dad, my husband and I are kind of sitting there talking, and then all of a sudden I feel the pressure in my bottom. And I'm like, oh, Nick, I'm starting to feel that pressure. I think I should push soon. And my father's like, see ya, I'll be in the waiting room. I'm out of here. Because my dad's like squeamish with that stuff, So my dad goes out. I'm so sorry. My dad goes out in the waiting room. It's my husband and I. In rushes all the doctors and nurses. And when you have a preterm baby, it's very common that when you're in labor, it's a little scary and a little intimidating because there's a lot of doctors and nurses in there, more so than if it was just a regular delivery, because they have to make sure the baby's okay. So they all come in. They start to break down the bed because the part of the bed comes off. You put your feet in the stirrups and you start pushing. Now with my son, I pushed for 3 freaking hours. It was brutal. It was awful. Oh God, I hated every second of it. So I'm starting to get a little panicky because I'm like, great, I don't have it in me to push for 3 hours. I've been up since 4. I'm exhausted. And this is 2:19 in the afternoon. So my water broke at 4 a.m. We got to the hospital by 7. I had her by 2:19 p.m., which is pretty fast. It sounds like a long time, but it's fast. So I start pushing, and right away with the first big push, my husband looks at me and he goes, oh my God. He goes, I'm pretty sure her head's coming out. And he looks at me and he was like, Beck, you're doing so good. He was like, oh my God, I can't believe how good you're pushing, because like I did really, really bad the first time. So I did one big push and her head was pretty much almost out. And the nurse looks at me and I'm like, how come I'm not in really any pain? And the nurse was like, because you had an epidural, you're numb. And I'm like, is she almost out? And the nurse is like, yes. And I'm like, are you bullshitting me? And the doctor that was delivering her was so cute. She looks at me and she goes, do I look like a bullshitter? She goes, you give me maybe 2 more big pushes, this baby will be out. So I just did what I had to do, and I gave 2 good pushes, and that was it. She came right out. So I pushed for 3 hours with my son. I pushed 3 times with her, and she was out. She weighed 4 pounds, 11 ounces. My son weighed 7 pounds, 3 ounces. So she was obviously very tiny, but a little peanut. She's so freaking cute. I can't even stand it. So she weighed 4 pounds, 11 ounces. And they asked my husband, do you want to cut the cord? And he's into that stuff. Like, he's not squeamish. So he's like, absolutely. So what they did was my husband cut the cord, and then they took her away. Typically, after a husband or a father or whatever cuts the baby's cord, the baby goes on the mother's chest to like be on her skin, hear her heartbeat, bond with her. With a preterm baby like ours, they couldn't do that, because what happens is full-term babies know how to breathe on their own. Preterm babies typically don't. So as soon as my husband cut that cord, that means that they needed to give her oxygen because she didn't know how to take her first breath. Like where when he cut it with my son, they were able to put him right on my chest because he knew how to breathe on his own. So my husband cuts the cord. They whisk her over to the thing. I'm a little sad because, you know, he can't hold her. And as they are taking care of her, they're like fixing me all up and cleaning me up and whatever they have to do for me. And my husband was just so nervous. It was like really, really hard to look at him because I could tell how nervous he was. It was awful. And they were like, Dad, you can get closer. You can look at her. And like he's crying and I'm crying. And I just can't believe like I'm a mom of 2 kids now. And it was just like so beautiful. So they wrap her up, they swaddle her, they bring her over to me, and they say, okay, guys, we have to bring her to the NICU. And they were like, you guys can each give her a kiss, and then we'll see her in a few hours. And it's really sad when you have to go through that because the baby's not on your chest. You don't get to like do that bonding moment right away. And then you don't see them again until like hours later. So after they took her away, I was getting like all cleaned up and like, you know, the nurses kind of help you do like a quick shower in the labor room, and then you can shower when you go upstairs. And then they took me up to maternity, and we didn't get to, remember this was at 2:19 in the afternoon. She was born. By the time I got upstairs to my maternity room, it was like 7 o'clock at night because I wasn't allowed to go upstairs until the epidural wore off and like I could actually like stand without my legs buckling. So after that we went upstairs, we got settled, and then it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning when we finally got to go down the hall to the NICU and hold her. It was just, that was the worst part. But within a matter of, okay, so this was all on Wednesday, and today is Sunday. So within a matter of 3 days, our daughter has completely gone off any assistance for breathing. She's breathing perfectly fine on her own. She's taking almost all of her milk in a bottle instead of in a IV. You can hear my son. She has no more IV, and she's pretty much good to go. She does have to stay in the NICU, so it's pretty nerve-wracking leaving the hospital without your baby. So my husband and I go up every single day to see her, and we just take turns. Like he'll go up in the morning, and then I'll go up at night, or he'll go up at night, and I'll go up in the morning. So we just switch because we have to keep our son's life as normal as possible. Yeah, and that's that. So she was born Wednesday, September 25th at 2:19 p.m. And her name is Rafaela Carmeline, and we call her Raffy for short. She's very feisty, she's very sweet, and we just can't wait to bring her home because it's driving us insane. But I think the worst part about all of this, and I'm not going to get into it now, is I have a lot going on right now with my parents, mainly with my mom. My mom and I have always been very, very close, but unfortunately, due to circumstances, she has not met our daughter yet or anything, and it's a really long story. I might actually, I don't even know, do an ASMR video on it one time, or a non-ASMR, and ask people's advice on where to direct me, because we're really kind of like stuck right now. So that's also been like very hard on me, knowing that she's been such a huge part of Luciano's life, and she's going through some stuff right now, so she hasn't seen, like, it's hard too because it's very out of character for my family. So I have the stress of, I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just saying I have a NICU baby. I have to travel back and forth every day to go see her and hold her and bond with her. I have to keep my 2-year-old's life as normal as possible. And it's just really, really hard. But I have to be strong because I'm a mama and I have to make life easy and happy and smiley for my 2-year-old and just take it day by day. So that is the update. I cannot wait to show you guys a video of her and get her home. She's absolutely beautiful. And I hope that you're all doing well. I appreciate your patience during this time. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and big hugs to everybody.